This is my 1985 Z28 Camaro. 383 stroker and stock drivetrain. I went to WIR, Wisconsin International Raceway here yesterday. And for the first time I ran this car down the drag strip. And it ran a 14.3. But like I said, it's stock drivetrain, stock transmission, stock axle, stock gears. And I'm not impressed, but I'm not disappointed. I was really afraid that the stock gearing with the larger cam I got into the motor would actually make it slower than stock. But it wasn't, so I was happy with that. Make sure I don't get ran over here. They're hauling liquid manure to one of the local fields, so semi-traffic's pretty busy. But I've owned this car for 8 years, and I put more miles in the last 3 weeks on this car than I did in the 8 years I've owned it. I bought it with a Chev 350 in it. Guy put a cam in it, and he did something wrong. We couldn't get the car timed right. It either backfired through the carburetor or diesel out real bad. And you'd rotate the distributor just a couple degrees, and it was the difference between the two, and we couldn't get it to run right. In the end, I think maybe when he put the cam in, the timing marks weren't exactly lined up. But this car has been a kind of an electrical nightmare. The past owner cut the harness when he pulled it. This car was originally a tune port, and he cut the harness out, and when he did, and he pieced in wires and everything else, and it's been a nightmare. Nothing on the Gage cluster works. It needs a lot of rewiring needs to be done to the car. But I paid $1,800 for it 8 years ago, and it's almost rust free. I mean, the quarter panels are solid, the floors are solid. There's like little pinholes here and there that could be touched up. You can see right where the ground effect was. Right there, there's a little bit of a hole. But nothing serious. It's still rock solid yet. Take a look at the good part about this car. 383 stroker, double hump heads. I don't recall the cam specs right now. I had it written down and I lost the paper, and that was 8 years ago, so I might not remember or can find it again. So, but it's got a 450 CFM carb on it, which is way too small, being that it's a 383 stroker, and a bigger carb will probably help the quarter mile time too. I just replaced a heater core in it 3 days ago, or else it leaked, and now that's getting fall. It's nice to have heat, though. Like I said, part of the wiring issue. A little hard to tell on the camera. Right there's the harness and all the wiring for the controls for the fan, which all been cut at the firewall. So I had to run my own, just do a hot wire to the fan for now. Yeah, liquid crap. And there's a makeshift battery tied on. The battery's eventually going to get relocated to the trunk. I know at WIR yesterday the tech guys let me ran, but they said all that's got to get changed. It's all got to be steel braided or hard lined. NHRA rules. Other than that, they didn't mind anything else. That's the only thing they pointed out to me. So they let me ran yesterday, and they said have it fixed before I come back. So the next run would be next weekend, which I won't have it fixed then, so it'll be next year before I go back to the drag strip. Exhaust, you see, ends right there, right after the front tires. Mostly because the drivetrain's still got to get pulled out and worked on and everything, and I don't want to spend a lot of money on exhaust yet, just to have it cut up, taken out, put back in, cut up, taken out. So help quiet it down. I got some baffles in it. In person it seems to work, but like I took a video of it before and after, and on the camera it's loud either way. And it's still loud with the baffles, just nowhere near as loud. Yeah, that's about it, really. I know one of the reasons it took me so long to get the car on the road is because when I first, this car was the first for a lot of me, or a lot of firsts for me. It was the first car I ever changed heads on. First motor pull I ever did. That's cool, seeing the air cleaner through the hood. It's just a fiberglass cowl hood that the past owner cut a hole in the hood and then mudded it in. And it's good for now. Eventually I'm going to get a real steel cowl hood. T-tops leak like every other T-top 3rd gen Camaro out there. But it's really cool having them off. Like I said, they're running pretty heavy. But none of the factory gauges except for the voltage one works. Speedometer don't work, oil pressure, fuel gauge, that sucks. Tach don't work. Those ones down there, minus the voltage gauge. And then there's that tach. Eventually I'd like to get like autometer gauges in there. So none of the heater controls work. This is now for my heater fan. I got it on my auxiliary power, so it only turns on when the car's on. This is for the electronic lockup in the torque, or in the 700 R4 that's in here. When you're on the highway and stuff like that, flip the switch and it kind of drops it down another 300 RPMs. I got it from Monster Transmission, I believe. Ordered it off their website. It works, so can't complain. Then I gotta get a new switch here. This is actually out of a Fiero that I had floating around because that switch recently died. And actually, I believe it was this switch that went bad, and then this switch is actually out of the passengers. Something like that. I forgot what I did there. Just put a radio in it. Once again, past owner, they put an aftermarket radio in it, and when they did, they cut the harness and just hardwired it in, which I hate. For anyone out there, buy the adapter kit. Don't cut the harness. It's dumb. Don't do it. Right there, that's all the wiring for the computer. That would be in the factory tune port motor. But the dash was clean. I mean, this car is, for the most part, pretty clean. The interior's in good shape. Yeah, the seats are in good shape. Car needs a good cleaning. But, yeah, well, let's fire it up. The rattling you hear, that's the baffle is kind of a little loose in there. But you see the voltage is slowly going up. I got a single wire GM alternator on it, so but we got excellent oil pressure. Temp is 0 right now. As you can see, the baffles are shaking around in there. When you're giving it the gas and stuff like that going on the road, you don't hear it because there's so much exhaust. It keeps it tight against my little stop. But like I got clear marker lights on it, clear front lights, lenses. I got a Ford 9-inch in my back garage for it. And eventually that's going to go in the car. And I have a $700 floor rebuilt. And then I got a tunnel ram intake for it. And I'd like to go with dual throttle body injection from Fast, I believe it's called. I see some of the products is used by motor trend and guys from Roadkill and stuff like that. So for anyone who hasn't watched Roadkill on the Motor Trend channel, watch it. These guys are great. So yeah, that's my 85 Camaro.